Hey everyone, here we are in our hotel bar sessions Afterthoughts. This is where me, Shannon Mussett, and my two co-hosts, Ammon and Lee, are getting together just to sort of talk through some of the things we wish we would have said during one of or more than one of our episodes. So we've already done one of these for episodes 1 through 5, and today we're going to be talking about episodes 6 through 10. So Ammon, tell me, what do you wish we would have talked about when we turned off the machines? What were you like, oh, I wish I would have said this?
So first of all, I got to congratulate us. I think that we really nailed it with these middle five.
I really did. Look, I had a lot of fun in the last 5 episodes. I feel like we were still kind of figuring out our way in the first 5 episodes, but now we've found a groove. So I'm totally.
We came into our own.
Yeah, I feel like it's when we started doing this. I've known you guys for forever, but it's a different thing to talk publicly, and it's taken some time. But anyway, I've really been having fun, and all 5 of these episodes are episodes I loved. Every single one, there's something I wish I had said. I want to sort of highlight 2 things. So one is in our apocalypse episode, and it's not about Elon Musk. Don't worry.
Oh, bummer. We needed more.
Thank God.
One of the things that we were talking about and that I was trying to push is, this question of, we talked about, I think, both apocalypses and extinction, and sort of the total end of a world. And, I wish that I had remembered when I was preparing, I'd wanted to talk some about especially apocalypses in indigenous literature. So I'm not going to say too much about it now, but I would highly recommend that everyone read a piece by Kyle White, and I'm going to pull up the exact name of it because I want to get it right. Indigenous Science Fiction for the Anthropocene, Ancestral Dystopias and Fantasies of Climate Change Crises. Because White really, I think, highlights the way in which discourse about the end of the world and about the severity of the end of the world looks different for folks who have been targets of genocide.
Yeah.
And for whose worlds have already ended in some ways. So, and a discussion of what survival after an apocalypse looks like. So I really would recommend, and I guess we don't have notes for this, but I'll put a link in the YouTube. The other thing that I wish, when we were talking about things that we loved, and especially our conversation about finding the space for we and non-romantic forms of love, when we talked about shows that we love, I wish I had mentioned, and I know Shannon loves the show too, Netflix's The OA.
Oh.
Which is exactly about the power of love, and Britt Marling, the creator of the show and the star of it, she writes a lot about her goal in telling stories which aren't rooted in traditional forms of patriarchy and domination, and especially where there's not one hero. So these are the OA. The OA as a story is really about people finding ways to work together because they love one another and because they have shared experiences of love. And it's a really beautiful story.
I wholly and highly approve of that choice. And I still, to this day, hold out hope that they come out with another season of it.
I'm worried it's not going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen, but I still hope. What about you, Lee? What do you wish we would have talked about?
So, one, I also want to say I loved these last 5 episodes. I particularly loved our conversation about love, which actually surprised me because it was not something I was super excited about talking about. So It went really well, and it touched me in my real human heart to have that conversation. But this is not so much what I wish I would have said, but something that has happened since our episode 6 on metrics, which is that just last week, the EU released a kind of draft of what are going to eventually become the EU's proposed rules for artificial intelligence. And there were 2 things that were included in that draft, which are really interesting. So, I mean, there's a lot I have to say about, what does it mean that the EU is going to have rules for artificial intelligence? Like, how are these going to be enforced? And if you look through the draft, there's not a lot of things that are sort of outright banned, but there are 2 things. And one thing is the use of real-time remote biometric identification systems in publicly accessible spaces for the purpose of law enforcement. Now, let me translate that for you. It's basically trying to outlaw facial recognition technology, which is something that we mentioned in that episode as a metric system that we're really, really worried about. The other super interesting thing that was, for the most part, banned in this new draft of the proposed rules are AI-based social scoring for general purposes done by public authorities. So anything like the Black Mirror nosedive episode seems to be, is going to make it into this draft of things that should be banned. What is noticeably absent, anything having to do with CRISPR. So that's what I would want.
do you think it's
going
to matter?
I don't think, I do think it will matter. I mean, Europe's a big place. There's a lot of, AI development going on there. And certainly, the changes that the GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation, has made, the effects of those changes in Europe have also affected everywhere else. But maybe the most important thing about this document when it finally does come out is I think it will be a model for the UN to, produce something similar.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Shannon, what about you?
Well, so as you know, I really loved the nostalgia episode. It really, it got me in my own little human heart. And when it ended, Lee and I both said, we both wanted to talk about Fanon. And
yes,
we were unable to, we just, moved too quickly when at the points where we really wanted to talk about it. And so one of the things I love about Fanon, and I'm thinking particularly of white skin, black masks, but black skin, white masks. And right. Sorry. But I'm thinking
too.
And okay. So I'm thinking particularly about black skin, white masks, but I also think it's part of Wretched of the Earth. But he explicitly rejects nostalgia and says that there's sort of this call to the past is in no way going to help future revolution. And I think that's a really provocative idea. I mean, he's got this great passage at the end where he's like, look, if we discover a lost black civilization, that's cool. If we find out that, Plato had a black philosopher friend, that's awesome. But that in no way is going to set the stage for what's to come. And I think that is such a palpable rejection of nostalgia as a kind of tool to be able to envision different futures. I think he actually explicitly says, whether you like it or not, the past in no way can be my guide to the actual state of things. And it's so strong and runs against kind of my desire to use the history when we are sort of talking, later in our canon episode, that we need to sort of think about the history in order to move beyond it or through it. And I think he's just like, nope, that's a nostalgic move. And all that does is prevent imagining different futures.
Yeah.
So, I wish I would have talked about that. Yeah.
So we should also mention that we've got 5 more episodes in this season 1, and we're obviously ahead of the episodes that are about to be released. So we're already beginning to think about season 2. And so we want to encourage everyone to visit our website. It's www.hotelbarpodcast.com. It's in the description to this video down below. We have an interactive page there where you can send us suggestions for topics that you would like to hear covered in season 2. You can also follow us on Twitter at Hotel Bar Podcast or Hotel Bar Sessions on Facebook. And don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. We will have another final Afterthoughts after our 15th episode, so a few weeks from now, where we will cover the last 10 episodes of season 1. But then we're going to take a short 2-week break before coming back out with season 2. So thanks for listening.
Looking forward to it.
We really appreciate it. And we will see you on the interwebs. Bye, everyone.
See you guys.
Thanks for listening.